After 120 years of struggle, leadership, and incredible faith, the story of one of history's most iconic figures is about to reach its final dramatic conclusion. So today, let's dive into the powerful final moments of Moses' life.
120 years old. I mean, think about that. At this age, Moses was standing at the very end of his epic journey. For 40 of those years, a full third of his life, he had guided the people of Israel through the wilderness, which was, you can imagine, a task of almost unimaginable difficulty. His life's work was finally coming to an end. But here's the thing. The text makes a point to tell us something truly remarkable. At 120, Moses wasn't some frail, fading old man. Nope, he was still in full command of his faculties. And that fact gives his final actions, his final words, this incredible weight and clarity. So, what does a leader of this magnitude do with his final moments? Well, his last mission wasn't about fighting a battle or conquering a city. It was about prophecy. He had to deliver a series of blessings to the 12 tribes of Israel, basically setting the stage for their entire future. This was all about embedding a sense of purpose and identity into the nation right before they faced their greatest trial. You could almost think of these blessings as a final testament, a kind of spiritual and strategic blueprint for a future he knew he wouldn't be a part of. Each blessing laid out the specific missions and responsibilities for every tribe, just as they were standing on the very brink of entering the Promised Land, a land that Moses himself would never, ever set foot in. Now, in these blessings, Moses uses this special, really honorable title for Israel, Jeshurun. This name, it means the upright one. And it wasn't just some poetic flair. It was a powerful declaration of their identity, a people who were chosen, loved, and ultimately made righteous by God. The tribe of Levi, the priestly line, they were given a really unique gift, the Thummim and Urim. These words translate to perfection and light, and they were sacred objects used by the high priest. Essentially, they were tools to figure out God's will, kind of like a direct line of communication for guiding the entire nation. And these prophecies were so specific. For Judah, the future line of kings, he's compared to a powerful lion. The tribe of Levi gets rewarded with the priesthood because of a moment of fierce, unwavering loyalty they once showed. And Gad is pointed out for having already received their inheritance directly from Moses. See? Each blessing was perfectly tailored to each tribe's unique destiny. This quote from Deuteronomy really just captures the whole spirit of it all, doesn't it? The ultimate blessing, when you boil it all down, wasn't about land or power. It was about Israel's unique relationship with God. It was a final, powerful reminder of who they were, a people saved and protected by a divine shield. Okay, so after delivering these blessings, the story shifts to the final, and incredibly poignant moment of Moses' life. God leads him all the way to the top of Mount Nebo for one last absolutely breathtaking view. And right here, this is the emotional climax. After a whole lifetime of struggle, leading his people toward this one single goal, God shows Moses the entire Promised Land. He can see the future he worked his whole life for, but God confirms the heartbreaking truth: he won't get to go in. And just like that, Moses dies right there in Moab. His life's mission is complete, yet, in a way, personally unfulfilled. To really appreciate the incredible scale of the life that just ended, just look at this timeline. 40 years as a prince in what was then the world's greatest empire, then 40 years in exile as a humble shepherd, and a final 40 years as the prophet and leader of an entire nation. It's like he lived 3 completely distinct lives in one, and each one prepared him for the next. But we get more than just the external story of his death. We actually get a glimpse into Moses' own soul. Psalm 90, which is the oldest psalm in the Bible, is believed to be his personal meditation, a deep reflection on the very nature of life and time and God. The main theme of this psalm is this really stark contrast. To an eternal God, 1,000 years can pass by like a single day. But for us, for humans, our life is as fleeting as grass that sprouts in the morning only to wither away by evening. It's a pretty profound thought on mortality. Moses observes that even a long human life, say 70 or 80 years, is just fleeting. He describes it as being filled with trouble and sorrow, gone as quickly as a bird taking flight. It's a very sobering, but you could say realistic view of the human condition. So, facing this fleeting existence, What does he do? Moses ends his prayer with this incredibly powerful plea. He asks God to give his life's work meaning, to make it last beyond his own short years. And isn't that a universal human desire? We all want our efforts to have some kind of enduring, established impact. So this brings us to the aftermath. With Moses gone, what happens next? Well, the focus immediately shifts to the transition of power and to the truly unique legacy he left behind. A new leader was ready and waiting, Joshua. And his name is so significant. In Hebrew, Joshua means the Lord is salvation. The Greek form of that very same name, Jesus. It's an amazing bit of foreshadowing. Just as Joshua would lead the people into the physical promised land, the name points toward a future figure who would lead believers into a spiritual one. This statement from the end of Deuteronomy is just definitive. It sets Moses completely apart from everyone who would ever come after him. This isn't just high praise, it's a declaration of his unparalleled status in Israel's history. But why? What made him so different? Well, it really boils down to two key things that set him apart. First, the quality of his revelation. Unlike other prophets who got messages in dreams or visions, Moses communicated directly with God, face to face. And second, the sheer scale of his power. No other prophet ever performed miracles as mighty as the signs and wonders he brought down on Egypt. So in the end, what we have is a leader whose mission was fulfilled for his people, but not entirely for himself. A man whose greatest work was preparing a future he would never get to enter. And it leaves us with a really profound question. What really defines a timeless legacy? Is it what you achieve for yourself, or is it what you build for others?